Well, good evening, everybody. I'd like to officially begin this evening's meeting of the St. Louis Park Telecommunications Advisory Commission. And first order of business is roll call. So, Reg?
Maren Anderson.
Present.
Dale Hartman. Here. Cindy Hoffman. Toby Keeler.
Here.
Bruce Browning.
Here.
Ralph Peterson. Here. Andrew Reinhardt.
Okay, we're good. Next item of business is approval of minutes. Actually, we have two sets of minutes to approve, one for August 12th of 2015 and then one for September 23rd. Do I hear a motion from anyone?
So moved.
On both?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion? Everybody content with everything they read? Okay. I really appreciate the clarity of what you did in the minutes, especially regarding the numbers, the 15% and the things that went along with it in terms of build out for the new system. So that was really helpful. If there is no further discussion, I guess we can say all in favor.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. And the next item on the agenda is the adoption of tonight's agenda. Are there any additions or any changes that anybody wants to make?
None from staff.
Okay, nothing from me. Anybody else? Okay,
Move to adopt.
second?
Second.
Okay, we move ahead. Any public comment for this evening's meeting? Don't think we have anyone here for that purpose at this point, so. We can move ahead to item 6, reports and discussion, and first off, the CenturyLink franchise update.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, as you know, the City Council has adopted the franchise that was proposed for CenturyLink. That occurred on November the 16th. And so now we're in the final stages of getting that ready to be a legal document. Pretty soon the signatures will come back from CenturyLink, and the effective date for this franchise is December the 12th, 2015, coming up very quickly. And so as a result, we invited CenturyLink to have a representative here tonight, and Tyler Middleton's here. And specifically, the thing that we're dying to know is how soon CenturyLink will begin offering service in St. Louis Park.
Thanks for being here, Tyler.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. Well, the very quick answer is very soon. It literally will be in a matter of days, certainly by the end of the year. We're just finalizing a few things systems-wise, and once that is all done, those households who are eligible based upon the kind of criteria we've talked about in terms of the build-out and the speeds will be eligible. They'll be able to go to our website at www.centurylink.com/PrismTV to put their address in and see if they are eligible. And then we also will be embarking upon a communications program to those households that are eligible in terms of a direct mail campaign, as well as at some point in time with the proper permits, there'll be a service to the door sales team that will be going out and notifying those residents that they are eligible as well.
You may not be able to answer this right away, but from the time somebody calls you and says, hey, yeah, I really want to get connected, any idea about how long that would take them?
Well, I think statutorily it's within 7 days. We certainly aim to do it faster than that. I think right now we're doing it in a matter of typically about 2 days. Just a little bit of it depends, but as quickly as we can. We have an awful lot of interest and demand right now, so we're juggling that as well. Any other questions?
So the beginning of next week, Monday of next week, a resident could go to the website and check to see the eligibility.
As I said, the final date is a little bit
washy yet.
A little fluid right now.
Okay.
But I would think certainly by the 23rd, we should be in pretty good shape for sure.
Right. Thank you.
You bet. they can always try sooner. It won't hurt.
Also, while I'm thinking about it, and I don't know if you can elaborate on relative cost for people to tie into your service and how that may compare at this point, or is it a little too early yet?
Well, it's not too early. I think the best way to do that is for the citizens really to go out to our website and see the different options. It's certainly very competitive. There are promotions going on. It's a little bit of how many channels do you want? Are you getting voice and data services with it? That kind of thing. So very competitive. I think the residents will find it very compelling.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Tyler while we have him in the hot seat?
One more, Mr. Chair, and then does a customer have to be a CenturyLink customer for telephone or internet in order to get their TV service, or can you just get the TV service alone?
Well, certainly not the telephone is not required, but it does run over our internet service, so they kind of come hand in hand.
Tyler, a question I have for you. Minneapolis is residents are getting promotional direct mailings from CenturyLink. Are the offers going to be similar for St. Louis Park?
Yes, there's really no differentiation across the Twin Cities Metro in terms of any of those pricing or offers. It's the same
Okay.
wherever we've got the franchises in place. And I think right now we've got 8 cities that are live.
Anybody else have any questions? If not,
I do have a question, but I think it's probably for Reg.
okay.
What channel did we get for St. Louis Park? 22.
It was channel 22.
Well, we came up with a slogan and it worked well with 22. Was choose your view on 22.
There you go. A little
That is,
marketing.
if that slogan gets approved.
Yeah, did you come up with that, or was
Somebody,
it a forum of somebody? Anything else, anyone?
Bruce, as long as you mentioned that, we've been in contact with CenturyLink engineers. It'll be 180 days as required by franchise before any local programming equipment will be installed in our control room, but we expect that it will be ready before then. But we're not ready right now, so you won't be seeing any local programming on CenturyLink. If you happen to become a customer of CenturyLink's, the local programming won't be there for a while.
That's
Okay.
correct. Yep.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, Tyler. Okay, next item on the agenda, customer service update from Comcast. Carly is here, I see. Hi.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thanks for having me. So, Reg, I saw you did your normal, like I guess it would be an annual compilation of the customer service complaints and the resolutions, and so I assume every commissioner's got a chance to look that over. If you have any specific questions about anything, go ahead and give me a call, or you can ask me now, but, certainly, Reg and I have always worked together to resolve any complaints that come through the city and then get sent to Comcast. But overall, and I think Kay, I see her name tag here. She's got a permanent spot at the table, huh? I think last time she was here, and she likely gave you an update on Comcast's multi-year commitment to transform the customer experience. And so certainly I want to mention that again and remind the Commission about that initiative. So months ago, Comcast announced they're investing $300 million into really piloting a lot of new projects in our customer service call centers and really looking at how we can improve the customer experience based on all the feedback, that we have received and we received directly from customers. Some of the initial things and the things I can already announce is that, we've already announced we're creating 5,500 new customer service jobs here in the United States. So that's bringing a lot of the third-party vendors that we use those jobs back into the United States. We've recently announced last month that we're bringing 400 of those jobs to our St. Paul office. So that is very exciting. So we are going to start hiring that up the beginning of next year. So please be on the lookout for that. Those jobs will be posted in a couple of weeks here.
Can
So we're very excited about
if I
that.
can interrupt for just a second, I remember we had talked about at one time that you were going to try and have certain areas of customer service dealing with certain aspects, like one for the technical side, one for the billing side, one
Sure.
for maybe installation or people coming out to the premises. Is that still a part of this plan as well?
So that was the initiative we took on a couple years ago. It was called our Center of Excellence Initiative. And so what we had were generalists or a number of call centers where any customer care agent could answer a number of questions. And we took a hard look at that model and thought, with the complexity of some of the services and the multitude of services that many customers receive from Comcast, it would be likely a better customer experience if we had agents that were deep on certain subjects instead of generalists. And so that is what we implemented a couple of years ago. So we're still building on that, adding more agents. So that will not change. And so the 400 jobs here in St. Paul, wanted to announce that. And we're simplifying our bill. We took a hard look at the bill, compared it with a lot of other kind of companies' bills that we consider best in class. You'll see that roll out next quarter. And I think that'll make a big difference in a lot of the calls we get. I mean, we took a look at a lot of the billing calls we get, and it's simply that people didn't understand what the bill was. So took a hard look at that, and we're updating that next quarter, simplifying a lot of our credit approval processes, and certainly, and next quarter we're also implementing. We're no longer charging. This is one of those simple things that it was like, this is a great idea, but self-install kits for new customers. We a lot of the times we send the customer a kit. The customer can install themselves. If something goes wrong or they can't, figure it out, give us a call. We send a truck or a tech to assist that customer. We used to charge for that truck roll, not doing that any longer. So simple things like that we're going to implement immediately that we think will have an impact. But in the meantime, we're also trialing, like I mentioned, a lot of different initiatives. And so I think you'll find along the way in this process for the next couple of years, we'll touch base with you. We'll give you updates about the new initiatives that we're implementing here, keep you updated, and answer any questions that you have about it. So that's what I've got now on the customer service, and happy to answer any questions.
Just a comment. I was looking at some of the handout material that we got. The co-pilot is interesting. I think that's a really great idea.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people, and it doesn't matter how they're getting their service necessarily, but it's a computer. The box is a computer. Whether it's CenturyLink's box or whether it's your box, they're both computers. So to have some interactivity or interconnecting capabilities to be able to walk somebody through something that's having a problem and doesn't quite understand how to do it, I think is a really, really good idea.
Absolutely.
And it's a good use of the technology we have at our fingertips today. So bravo, keep doing it.
Thanks for that comment. And those are the kind of things that we're looking at, is how we can help the customer through a lot of these questions easier, more efficiently, and more conveniently.
The other thing I was going to ask about was there have been a couple of speed increases over the past few months. Is there another one coming next year? There had been talk about gigabit service. That will require a different modem, if I'm not mistaken, and a different standard that modem, DOCSIS 3.5, I think is the technical term. Are you still in line to have that done, and when do you expect to have it rolled out, if you do, at this point?
That's right, and great question. Thanks for bringing that up. I see. Thank you, Reg, for including the letters that I've been sending you on our speed increases. So earlier in the fall, we doubled most of our customer speeds at no additional price. And recently, this November, so last month, we again increased the speeds in our most popular bundles. So our Performance Pro in our Xfinity bundle went from 50 to 75 and megabits per second down. And then our bundle that was 105 megs went up to 150. And so in the matter of just 3 months, all of our customers, our internet customers, have seen their speeds increase at no additional cost. So it's been quite a busy couple of months in terms of speed increases, so thank you for bringing that up. And certainly if, a customer isn't noticing that, it's a simple reset of the modem. So it's always good to remind customers to reset their modem to take advantage of those speed increases. And DOCSIS 3.1 is the modem that we are rolling out. I don't have a definitive date yet for the Twin Cities rollout, but it is expected by the end of 2016. And so what that will mean is by the end of the year, every customer that we serve will have access to a gig speed with the new DOCSIS 3.1 modem. So that's an initiative I will also keep you updated on.
Any idea, it's probably maybe too early to know exactly what the cost might be to do that?
I don't, to the customer, like
To the
what
customer,
that,
yes.
I don't know that. no,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. A little early for that question perhaps, but just
But
curious.
I will keep you updated. I know everybody's
Okay.
anxiously awaiting that news, so.
Anything else, anybody?
I guess I put up the table of the tabulated Comcast complaints for the last 5 years, something we've been doing for a number of years now. And the total complaint calls for this year was 73, which is down 25% from last year, based on December 2nd. There's actually been a couple calls in the last week. But well, that's a good trend. That's a pretty significant drop. That's the bottom line there of total complaint calls. And then another one is the total cable service complaints, 115 this year. Last year there were 130 because some of these callers have more than one complaint. And so that's down in 11%. So that's good. That's a trend in the right direction. So one of the things I wanted to bring up for the commission is you were talking at one point about what do we do about the fact that the complaint calls increased? What kind of action can we take? Is there any enforcement action we can do? And one of the things we could consider then, and for you to later on as part of your city council work plan for next year, this is something for you to think about, is we could, instead of doing this once at the end of the year, we could tabulate them each quarter and see how they're going. See if the trend is a good trend, and if so, then no action is required. And if the trend is not, if calls seem to be going up, then maybe we start considering action for this commission again.
You'd be able to break those previous years, like 13 and 14, down into quarters too then?
Actually, Commissioner Peterson, I wasn't thinking of going back. I was thinking, though, in terms of the total complaint calls and the number of cable service complaints, for example, tabulating the 2016 first quarter, for example, and breaking them out in these same categories.
I might note, I didn't ask that, he did. I do like the trend. That is an improvement, and that's good to see.
I'll just add that the 73 represents, based on the approximate 13,000 subscribers, that's about 0.5% of the total subscribers.
Any other questions for Carly?
Carly, in some service areas in different states, Comcast has instituted service data tiers, or after 300 gigabits, there's a different price. Is anything like that planned for the Minnesota service area?
Thanks for the question. You're correct that that Comcast is piloting that billing initiative in a number of markets, just a handful actually, and there is no plans right now to institute that in the Twin Cities.
Okay.
Anything else, anyone? You're off the hot seat, I guess.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Let me find where we are here. Too much scrolling, too little time.
The rate changes or?
Rate changes in channel.
Thank you. Well, I had it here a moment ago. Sorry about that. Okay, yeah, next item is Comcast update on new rates or changes in channel lineup, if that's applicable this evening, and apparently it is not at this point. So we can move ahead to complaint logs. The numbers look better. I like that a lot. Anybody else have any comments regarding the complaint logs at this point? We're awfully quiet tonight. I think most of what I see typically are things that are sometimes billing things, and if they're taking a look at how they're putting together new bills, that may help solve some of that in terms of understanding what they're being charged for and how they're being charged. I think that's a good step in the right direction. Are the bills, and Carla, you don't have to come back up to the podium, but the bills are the same whether you get them online or whether they're mailed to you, you see still the same bill, I think. Okay. All right. Next item on the agenda, if everybody we don't have any further comments about complaint logs, has to do with a proposed annual meeting with City Council on February 22nd, and also a draft for the annual report for 2015 and a work plan for 2016. It's nice we have nothing to do. You want to take this one, Reg?
Mr. Chair, I want to step back for one sentence to say
Sure.
that in your packet was included your first ever CenturyLink complaint log. Just so you know that we will be treating CenturyLink and Comcast the same, and so when there are complaints, and we had one, and just so you know, that will be an ongoing thing in your packet from now on.
Thank you.
All righty, so let's see, I've got to cue something up here. All right, there it is. This year, in the past, we've done a written annual report, and some years we've had commissioners attend city council study sessions and talk about what the Telecom Commission had achieved in a previous year and what they plan to achieve for the next year. The city council has come up with a slightly modified procedure, which is really pretty exciting. The idea being that at one study session, all commissions will make their annual reports, so that if you happen to want to attend that evening, you'd be able to find out what the Police Advisory Commission is doing, for example, or the Planning Commission, or all of the boards and commissions that advise the City Council. So that's coming up on February 22nd in the Rec Center banquet room, because it'll need a little more room than what we'd have in this room. The Telecom Commission's turn will be from 6:40 to 7 p.m., and the idea will be that one person from the Commission will make approximately a 10-minute report to the Council, and then there'll be 10 minutes of feedback and discussion with the City Council. All commissioners are invited, but only one is invited to speak and make that presentation. And then presentations are encouraged. PowerPoint or videos were specifically mentioned. So I'll be happy to assist with that, whatever we come up with. So there will be some light food served that night, and it's expected to run from approximately 6 o'clock till 9 o'clock, with check-in beginning at 5:30. They want to make sure to check in all commissioners that arrive that night, even the ones that don't speak to the council, just so everyone is acknowledged and tallied. The written reports are due January 31st. And we have a form in your packet there with the start of, which included 4 just bullet points of accomplishments for this year, which was an extremely busy year for this commission, as you well know. And then a very brief attempt at a few things for next year. And then in addition to that, today I came up with the form which you've seen in the past, which would be called the 2016 Work Plan, where I have a suggested meeting dates that the City Council chambers is available. So, and then a few tasks to put on those meeting dates. So, so the next step for you folks is to do a little brainstorming about what you want to accomplish for next year. And I've got some suggestions here, and what we've usually done in the past at this meeting is to fill in any other ideas that the commissioners want to pursue to the meeting dates that are available. Now, partially because this was such a busy year, there's at least one leftover item, which was called Cable TV Technology Presentation. And I frankly can't remember the exact origin for that. I know that at one point, going back, I think about 2 years ago, we toured the Comcast facility in Roseville. And it was a great tour. And so something that Chair Browning had mentioned to me before is we want to make sure that everyone attends that if they want. And Tyler's still here. This is something that we may consider seeing if you might allow our commission to attend and tour the Golden Valley head-in for CenturyLink at some point. And
I think that would be actually a really good idea.
the technologies are different. It would be great to explain to us. We've gotten the overview, those of us who have seen the demonstrations that were held in the CenturyLink office have seen exactly how it works and what the equipment's like. But then it's a little different to see what the back-end area might be like. So with that, I guess I will put a cork in it and let the commission take over with some of the brainstorming for what things you want to address.
Oh, you want us to do that tonight? Okay. I like the tour, I think, is a good idea. I also would not mind seeing somebody come in and talk a little bit, maybe about fiber technology. From my perspective, being a tech head, I think really that's the ultimate, at least right now, it's probably the ultimate form of broadband that exists. We are not there yet. Several pieces of it are in certainly Comcast's system, and certainly will be in CenturyLink system as well. But it would be nice to know something more about how that is building out in other areas of the country, how that could impact what we do here in St. Louis Park. We have a fair amount of dark fiber in the ground right now. I would love to be able to see the city utilize that in some fashion. I know we have talked about that in reference to Park Nicollet Medical Center and their other eating disorder clinic here, and we certainly have cable running near both of those locations. So I think it would be nice to get an idea of what infrastructure that we have right now, and maybe with Southwest Light Rail as well, and how that may integrate into something that would be beneficial to the city. Whether we lease it out and somebody runs it for us, whether the city wants to take that responsibility on themselves, I don't know. But I think that is where the future is for broadband in general. So it would be kind of nice to know if we had a person or maybe two people come in and talk about that a little bit and find out, what's the future hold? How much data can you actually move across a piece of fiber? That's changed a lot from what it was back in the earlier days. So it would be nice to get an overview of how the technology is moving and how quickly it's moving.
Hook you up with a fusion splicer and have you splicing fiber.
There you go. That would be okay too. Oh yeah, that would be almost. Actually, that would be a.
Fiber truck and.
Yep. That would be very cool. So that I'm the technology piece up here quite often, and that's of interest to me. But I think it might be to other people as well. Thoughts from anybody else here?
Mr. Chair, I believe the City Council has a vision for communications and technology engagement, and I can't remember exactly how it's worded, but I think it would be a good exercise to see what elements of that vision could the TAC committee take or TAC commission take on in terms of either providing recommendations or support or whatever, how we might align what we're doing with the city's vision.
And in fact, maybe we could perhaps get together with a city council study session. Can't get it out tonight, to just talk about that a little bit. They may have some suggestions that would be helpful for us as well. I would like to know more about what their vision is for the city at the same time. They've articulated that to some extent, but it's been in very general terms, I think, at this point. Maybe we need to become a bit more specific about how we want that to move and what the city council might like to see. Don't everybody jump in at once.
I have a question about meeting dates for the commission. Is everybody totally committed to second Wednesdays, or are there any other ideas for meeting dates. I have a conflict on second Wednesdays, and there's 3 of them that I've circled on the draft work plan here, so.
Early before we got underway, Reg and I were speaking, and we were wondering whether, was it fourth Thursday? And I would have no problem with that. I don't know how those dates correlate here. I don't have a calendar sitting in front of me at the moment. But that would be more convenient for you, John, would it? Like a fourth Thursday?
I think so.
I would be fine with that.
Mr. Chair, I started with the fourth Wednesday on all of these months, and there are some of them where the fourth Wednesday of the month is not available. And
Okay.
so that's why we wound up with, for example, I've suggested April 13th, but we could also do it on May 11th, which would be, I believe, a second, or May 25th. That meeting itself, it could be, is flexible, and any one of those 3 dates would work, and perhaps the 25th then of May would be the best to accommodate John. The December meeting is suggested for December 28th, but frankly, that's usually quite, what's the best way to put that? People are involved with other things right at the end of the year, and so that's why I suggested either the 28th or the 14th of December. And again, that's, of course, inconvenient for John, but you just got to look at the reality of the last week of the year, frankly. And the other meeting dates are all the fourth Wednesday, with the exception of the February 22nd, which is the Monday meeting with the City Council.
From my perspective, it doesn't matter. I'm pretty flexible in terms of schedules, even in December a lot of times. But I think of those 2 dates, the 14th would seem to be maybe a little bit safer date to me than the 28th would be. And regarding April, May, or May 11th or the 25th, again, you suggested maybe the 11th could be a good date. That would be fine by my standard as well. Anybody else have any specific problems with any of those dates? So if that's indeed true, then, and if I'm right here, then February 22nd is a meeting with the council at the Rec Center Banquet Room. February 24th in the council chambers, and then May 11th, I guess. There's a recognition event coming up next year, too, between April 2nd and the 15th. July 27th, October 26th, and then December 14th. Does that work for everybody? Or is it the least offensive to everybody? Like, maybe we should put it that way. Yeah, it's a little earlier, makes it a little easier, perhaps.
Probably halfway to Florida, but
Is everybody good with those? Okay. Then let's do that. That works. Anything else, any other suggestions from fellow commissioners here on some things you'd like to see accomplished next year? I'm the tech guy, I got that out of the way, but what else?
I might as well ask Jackie and John here. There was some discussion about Park TV marketing, and that's on the commission work plan for them to brainstorm or talk about. And I just wonder if you have any suggestions for when in the year we might want to do that, how that might fit with what our department is doing. Is it a good idea to get the commissioners involved early in the year? Should we put that in the second half of the year? If you have any thoughts on that. Okay, I think we might have that tentatively down. We do have it tentatively listed for February 24th meeting. That'd be the next meeting of this commission, so let's just leave it right there
Okay.
and get your comments then, and we might be able to have some ideas for you then. I know that, for example, that our graphic artist, Misty Lewis, has been incredibly busy doing posters and other, fantastic things related to the city's goals and mission. And so some of that stuff might be able to be shown to you then. And I know that we're working, we have a long-range plan on redoing the city's website. But I don't know if there'll be anything new by then. But so anyway, we'll discuss the marketing then in February.
This might be a little premature, but I know we've talked about this individually a little bit. It would be nice to change the signage out in front of the City Hall to reflect Park TV in the signage. we're here, we do a lot of things here. People are certainly aware, and this is maybe falling more into the marketing thing too, but I wouldn't think there's probably an expense involved like there is in many things, but it would seem to me that that would be an obvious thing to want to do. Whether it's adding to the sign outside the city hall and also maybe some signage on the trucks, perhaps. Just a thought. Let's toot our own horn a little bit.
Well, the truck does have significant logos for all the local channels on there, but that
Okay.
brings up another thing, is that John is the first one who addressed the fact that at a certain point we'll be having a different channel assignment on CenturyLink television system, and so it'll be channel 22, and we'll need to look for it there, and that's something that will be part of our marketing update, but our channel assignments that are on Comcast will be different. And so
Maybe,
that will be part of our marketing, will be to educate our customers where to find us there after our local channels are activated on the CenturyLink system.
Maybe an electronic crawl. I mean, they do it at the senior center down on Minnetonka Boulevard, the church there, on the signage, yeah. And that is something that could be changed on a regular basis, and not just for Park TV, but for everything else that we do here in the city. Don't know. I have no idea what the expense of that is, but it's easy to come up with the idea anyway and take it from there. Anything else, anybody?
I will send after I update the 2015 annual report and integrate the suggestions you've made tonight, I'll send that to everyone, so your feedback is welcomed either right away or by the deadline of January 31st, when I need to have it ready for the city council.
That'd be great. And that'll give everybody time to think about it a little bit more, too. Anything else, anyone, right now? Okay. So we've kind of set the meeting dates for 2016. That's pretty much out of the way. The only other item of business we have as a commission is we need to elect a new chair for next year and a new vice chair for next year. So I would open up nominations from the commission for those very things.
Mr. Chair, I nominate Rolf Peterson for chair for 2016.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Oh, excuse me, Reg, go ahead.
You must call
times.
for nominations 3 times.
Okay. Pardon me, I broke the rules. Do I hear another nomination? Again, is there another nomination? That's 3. That being the case, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Welcome aboard.
Congratulations.
We still have to deal with a vice chair. I can't make the nomination, I don't think, can I? Or can I?
Well, you have to be a member of the commission in order to make the nomination, right?
Well, I'm a member of the commission, right?
So why don't you
I would
give it a
nominate
try?
Maren as vice chair.
Second.
Okay, that being the case, 3 times, are there any other volunteers or nominees for vice chair? Any other nominees for vice chair? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, Maren. Okay, last item, almost the last item on the agenda tonight, communications from the chair and commissioners and city staff. It's been an interesting year from my perspective, and it's been fun. And I'm glad that we have CenturyLink in the mix of things now. It's been great to work with the people on the commission. It's been great to work with Reg and John and Jackie and the city council too. So it's been an interesting year, and I think it's been to the benefit of the city. So hallelujah, I hope we do as well next year.
Mr. Chair, a little after the fact, but I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize the St. Louis Park staff that worked on the negotiations with CenturyLink. Jacqueline was at the meetings, all the meetings. John was at a couple of the meetings, provided a lot of input. And Reg led the charge from the city, and I think it was an excellent job. And Tyler, your negotiating team from CenturyLink was a pleasure to work with.
They were very much.
Thank you.
Anything from the city, Reg?
Yes, I distributed
Candy
programming to date.
and candy.
Yes. Programming to date for TV 15, programs produced by staff, specifically Scott Smith and myself. And for the first year, we broke 100 programs, which was the wrong thing to do because we'll have to do that again next year. Just kidding. It's a great feeling to provide so much programming for the community and to have the freedom to go out and find it. Any questions on the programming? I realize it's printed in Arial, narrow, and 9-point font.
And I can still read
However,
it. That's good.
no extra trees were killed. I used both sides of the page.
I think this is phenomenal. The fact that it's primarily two people that are putting all of this together, you guys, we should applaud you for that. It's a great job.
I would just, Mr. Chair, I'd like to also recognize Reg has volunteered to serve on the MACTA board beginning in 2016, and he has also volunteered to be the membership committee chair for MACTA. So congratulations, Reg. Look forward to working with you.
Congratulations. Did not know that. You snuck it in.
Arm twisting.
Did you nominate him, Toby?
Yeah, kind of.
And he has nothing else to do, so this will give him something to do. Anything else, anybody? If not, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn, unless somebody else, something else to bring up.
So move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Meeting is adjourned.